Welcome to the Mostly Traverse City podcast. I'm Julie Bronze.
And I'm Don Pichet.
Each episode, we introduce you to the real treasure of TC, its people.
You're invited to get to know the soul of Traverse City, one story at a time. Enjoy the latest episode of the Mostly Traverse City podcast. Here we are.
Okay.
Welcome to the next best episode of the Mostly Traverse City podcast. And I'm here in the Paul Bunyan studios of WTCM, Midwestern Broadcasting, WTCM, AM 580, the voice of Traverse City for 30 plus years. The morning guy, Ron Jolly, welcome to the Mostly Traverse City podcast.
Don Pichet.
It's good to have you here. So Ron, I got to tell you, the news came out not that long ago that you're retiring.
Yes.
And I have to say, like, you have become, in my life, somebody that as soon as I get in the car in the morning, I turn it on. What's Ron have to say today? And, we've got a chance to be around one another over the years a few times. But I got to tell you, like, part of me was like, no, you can't leave. You can't leave until I'm gone.
Well,
So, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So kudos to you for really being in people's lives in this community and being the kind of, the eyes and ears of, for so many people in this community. It's got to feel a little weird.
well, yeah, it's a little weird, yeah, because I say that everything that's happened in my life for the last 35 to 40 years, the consistent factor is walking in the back door of the radio station every morning, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
No matter what else is happening, I walk in and I sit down in front of the microphone.
Yeah.
So it's been a real consistent factor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not just being here physically, but the relationship,
Yeah.
connection with listeners over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of connection, I know you're not from here, so let's talk a little bit about your connection to Traverse City.
I moved here in June of '83. I
Okay.
grew up in Dearborn outside of Detroit. I lived in D.C. for a year. I lived in downtown Detroit before I moved here. I was in the restaurant business. Then I went to radio school, broadcast school. And they said, if you move up north to a little market, you won't make any money, but you'll learn the skills and you can come back downstate. So I moved up June of '83. I started at another station, WMZK or WCCW back in the day.
Yeah.
And then wound up here for most of my career. So that's how I got here. And I lived in the city most of those first 20 years or so. I now live in Acme. So,
Okay.
so it's still Traverse
Which is
City.
becoming the city, right?
Yeah, we say.
It's to be annexed pretty soon.
We
here.
like to say Traverse City is the gateway to Acme.
Yeah, it's the gateway to Acme. Let's talk a little bit about, you got into this thing, and I don't even know what inspired you to get into radio. I mean,
People have asked
although
me.
back in that time, and radio was a huge deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Well, it still is.
it is a huge, yeah. No, but I mean, like, it was incredibly competitive,
Yeah.
and
Well, back then, I moved up here as a 23-year-old and was able to find, in my 20s, apartments to rent.
Yeah.
In the city, affordable, because we didn't make any money back then.
Right.
And now, of course, the law firms can't get people recruited up here that can find a place to live. So, no, it was great to move back. I was in the bar and restaurant business in Detroit. I had always loved mass communication. Like, I'd watch Johnny Carson and I'd say,
Oh, yeah.
that dude's sitting at his desk, but he's reaching millions of people,
Yeah.
So I worked a lot of media. People came into our bar, and one thing led to another. I thought I wanted to be in the music business. I always wondered why music radio functioned how it did. Very repetitive. So music drew me into radio, and got pretty boring. So I switched over to news and then talk radio.
Yeah. No, this is a little history kind of a thing. So in this building,
Yes.
I was probably 13, 14 years old, and there was a fella that that I knew from the golf course. He worked at the Traverse City Golf and Country Club and the bag staff back there, Dave Goth there.
Oh, yeah.
And Dave Dave worked here on the weekends. Like
Yeah.
nobody was in this building but Dave and a big stack of record albums. So I thought that was really cool. And I said, can I go watch you sometime? You know, like job shadow you?
Yeah.
Well, he had job shadow all lined up. He had a stack of records that I got to put away in alphabetical order. So I remember doing that for about 5 or 6 weekends, you know, come in and hang out with Dave, go out there. And then I realized, like, no, he doesn't care about me in here. He just wants me to put all the records away.
Exactly.
You know? But
Exactly.
I do remember, I think it might have been the same room. I'm not really, well.
Yeah, one of those 2 studios
Yeah.
that we were just in
Yeah.
there, yeah. Jim, a lot of people in Traverse City will say, I used to work at Midwestern Broadcasting.
Yeah.
You know, just a lot of people have come through here.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
It's kind of
it's
cool. Traverse City it's your home. I mean, it's where your heart is now. What do you love most about it?
Well, I tell you, I love the small town feel. I like the fact that you kind of have that feel where, you know, like you can walk in downtown and run into somebody you know. I mean, that doesn't happen in many big cities.
Right.
It's safe, it's clean, the natural beauty is unbelievable. When I moved here, I didn't know we had beaches in Michigan.
Yeah.
I didn't know we had forests with trails. So all of those aspects, but it's what do I want to say? The people care about what goes on here.
Yeah.
You know, you get people that show up at city commission meetings and school board meetings and library meetings, and everybody has a stake in it. And so it's that feeling of community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think it's interesting. I may have shared this with you, but the reason that Julie and I are doing this podcast is there's so many people moving up here to Traverse City.
Yeah.
There's so many people moving into this area. And, you know, I don't blame them. And it's a beautiful place, you know. But what makes this place desirable to the visitor is it seems so friendly.
Yeah.
And it is so friendly because there are the relationships like you and I have, and so part of the reason that we want to do this is to maybe in some way, you know, hey, you're going to see this face walking around downtown. You're that Ron Jolly I saw you on the Mostly Traverse City podcast. You know, I don't know how it happened before, but we didn't have nearly as many people.
No, we didn't.
You know, and it was a little easier. But I think that connectedness is part of what makes for a great community, and not that this podcast is going to be some defensive mechanism, but it's a step in how do we connect with other humans? Well, the first way we do that is, what's your story?
Yeah.
And so
I'll tell you a quick story if you
Yeah.
have 60 seconds. So remember Jack's Market?
Oh yeah, right down the street here.
When I moved up in '83, every weekend on the news it said Jack's Market was robbed this week. And it's like, wow. But there was a guy that worked the guy that owned the place. I would go in there, and at that time I smoked. He goes, "Hey, how you doing, young man? How's the weather today?" And I'm like, "Good. Can I get a pack of Newports, please?" And he'd say, "Well, you having a good day?" And I'm like, "Yeah. How much? Goodbye." You know. And I'd go for weeks like that.
Yeah.
And so who is this guy? And one day I walked in there and said, "How you doing? Pretty nice day today, huh?" And I thought, okay, it hit me. I'm Traverse City now. You know.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you care about the people.
Right,
You
right,
take time to
right,
talk
right.
and touch base.
Yeah, it wasn't just transactional.
No.
It became relational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think, I think as people who have had our roots in this place for a long period of time, you know, like, I think we have to take some responsibility to like, hey, here's how we do it here. You know what I mean? And you've been involved with my role in the Traverse City Curling Club. You know what I mean? And I had no idea when that thing started that this was going to be a place where people that are new to Traverse City could find community here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And nobody knew what the hell was going on playing curling anyway. So no one was, you know, it was safe space. So anyway.
Well, great job, though. I mean,
Oh yeah, well, it was a community event.
It was,
you know?
yeah,
I mean,
but
when you
still.
look at it, it's a process. So someone's new to Traverse City, and we know you're out there. How would you suggest they plug in? How would you suggest they kind of get acclimated and plugged into the community at large?
that's a good question. You know, obviously it depends where they work, or if they do work, or if they're retired. There's a lot of opportunity. I mean, if you're retired, you've got the senior center. If you work, you connect with those people. You've got neighborhood associations are big
tons
around
of
here,
that,
your
yeah.
neighbors. Downtown events. If you just go downtown restaurants, you're going to meet people, But whatever your interest is, there's a place to go, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't have an interest, you can go curling and you'll meet people.
Yes, you'll
But-
be interested right away.
Yeah, I mean, there are book clubs and there's places, people that get together and cook and everything you can think
What do
of,
you and
know.
Mrs. Jolly do? I mean, I think you ski, like you cross country ski, right?
Yeah, we
Hike and ski some.
yeah, we hide out.
You media stars.
Laura's much
You're
more
like Michael Jackson.
she's much more sociable than I am. Because I get to see so many people in my studio.
for sure.
But we cross country ski, we hike in the woods, we bike ride, we go out to eat. We'll explore. We'll just say, you know what, we have a day off. Let's get in the car and go to Charlevoix. Let's go to Kalkaska, maybe Cadillac. Let's go to Elk Rapids, and she'll find a store to look in. I'll find a bookstore, and we'll find a place to eat.
That's
and a place
the
to hike.
bookstore is your place. Isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you could be anywhere, especially when you fully retire. If you could go anywhere, where would you go?
Well, this would be weird. I would like to take a road trip. To get in my car with my wife, or if she didn't want to go, that'd be okay. But no, and just explore the country.
Yeah.
And here's the place I would like to see is the plains: Nebraska, Kansas, the Dakotas,
Yeah.
Iowa, which is really boring supposedly, but I just want to see that country. Make my way to the Rockies and travel the country.
I hope you get to do that. I hope you get to do that. And I know when you do that, you're going to meet a lot of amazing people and share the same safety that you provided people in this community just by hearing your voice for 30 plus years. And it's true.
Time.
It's
Long
true.
time, yes.
So, Ron, what would people who know you well, what would they say is your superpower?
Probably, well, I mean, I'm loyal to a fact if I'm friends with somebody, so there's loyalty, but I would probably just think stability, I guess, calmness. I mean, I don't get real excited one way or the other, so stability.
Yeah,
is my
I think you're
superpower.
right. Yeah. Pretty, I think that is your super. And I think that's that with that stability. You know, when I thought about this question and I thought about what I can just speak for myself, what you represent to me in this community is I can always count on Ron. Objectivity. He's not going to get too wacky on one side or the other. He's just going to kind of say, this is the temperature. It's colder than a mother-in-law's kiss again out there, or whatever. But I think there's some security and safety in doing what you've done for so many years in this community, and I'm grateful for that. Anything you want to add, or anything that parting comments, or things you want to?
I would just say, I was talking to my partner Colleen Wears today. We both were in the news business in our 20s, and we started to say, we call up the judge if we had a news story, or a police officer, and we're 20, but it was a terrific privilege to learn how a community functions through the government, education, nonprofits, how you need leaders. And this community showed me how things function. I mean, how a community works from your neighborhoods, your families, right on up. So it was a great way to learn, to be working and learning how a community works in Traverse City. Why does it work? Because people have a stake here. I mean, because people know each other and care.
Yeah.
And it sounds like cliches, but I think it's true.
Yeah, it is true. It is true. And we want to protect that thing that we love and we cherish. And this community is one of those things. Ron, I'm super excited for you in retirement. I know you're not going to disappear. You might for a few months, but you're going to come back in some form or fashion. You've got too much to offer this community. And I know that there's a heart there that's not going to let it, you're not just going to put it under a bushel basket. No, you're going to let it shine.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
I'll be around. Donnie.
All right.
Boom.
So there you go, Ron Jolly, radio legend here in Traverse City, Michigan. And if you get to see this smiley face around town, make sure you say hi. Your life will be different when you get to know Ron Jolly on a personal level. So thank you for watching in on the Mostly Traverse City podcast. We can't wait to see you on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the Mostly Traverse City podcast. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep living your own kind of magic.